pace, which is smack bang on 15 minutes pace for 5k and 30-minute pace for 10k. The start of this marathon was relatively slow in comparison to how a lot of these Kenyans were expected to run. There was extra prize money for people who would run faster, for example under 2 hours 5 minutes or possibly even a world record. However, during this race, it's important to note that the Daegu Marathon offers an absurd amount of prize money of over $100,000 per first place winner. That is something incredible in my opinion. I don't really know many other world marathon races that offer that kind of level of prize money, and we'll be going over the prize money at the end of this race and see who won it and the results. But without further ado, let's get into this race. So here we are. We are 0.6 kilometers into this race. We have the Kenyans in the lead. We've got Stephen Kiprop, we've got Kimutai, and we also have around about 3 to 4 Ethiopians. Now, it's important to note that at this point in the race, no one is the leader, if that makes sense. Really, everyone was just looking to try and stay as relaxed as possible. Now, I didn't recognize many of the runners in this race, but I did recognize Daegu. Daegu of Ethiopia is a top level runner who has run well under 1 hour for the half marathon. I have seen him run at the New Delhi half marathon. I have seen him run, I believe, at the RAK half marathon. And I've also seen him run a handful of marathons. Now, I don't know if Daegu is attempting to get selected for the Ethiopian team, so that would explain why he's in this race. Or it could be because of the really good amount of prize money. So here they are, just gone past 3k. Went through the 3k mark in just under 9 minutes, which isn't too bad at all. Look at the scenery here, stunning. I mean, they've got some beautiful scenery here in Daegu. Fantastic mountains and picturesque views. Guys, this is just the beginning of it. It gets even better. There's literally trees coming up that look like crystals. They look like they've got crystals on them. They're blossoming with the beautiful springtime season upon us. So let's see what we're looking at for this first 5k split. Daegu isn't really making much of a move. He's sitting behind these 3 Kenyans, not really doing much. Bit of an awkward bend here, as you can see how big this lead group is. I'd predict anywhere from maybe 20 to 30 athletes there. Yeah, I'd say around 20 to 25 athletes. So the 5k split, 14 minutes and 50 seconds. I believe Stephen Kiprop was the one that went through in the lead. I don't think there are any paces in this race, which is important to note. As far as I'm aware, the Daegu Marathon does not have any pacers. Now, with that 14:55k, it looks like it was starting to do some damage to a lot of these runners. However, Daegu was still up there, which was the one I knew, and I think he was my favourite in this race. But again, 5k is way too early to tell what kind of times we're looking at, who we're looking at for the win, etc, etc. Here we've got a drink stop, or otherwise known as an aid station. Now, the weather here wasn't that hot, so a lot of the runners choosing not to take on fluids, which is usually a sign that they're feeling calm and collected, and their body isn't really struggling with the temperature. Another way to notice how the temperature is not hot is how a lot of the spectators, locals, officers are wearing many layers, jackets, jumpers, which would tell us that it's not hot at all. It could actually be a bit chilly, which thankfully means these athletes aren't going to be overheating and becoming dehydrated too quickly. Now, they still can become dehydrated, but it's a lot harder during cooler races. 8.13k in. Here we go, the Kenyans still leading, doing a phenomenal job. The group of 25 has come down to around about a group of 15 to 18. We've got some trailing chase pack here with the local runners doing a fantastic job. Really fantastic training these guys have been doing for the past year to try and peak for this race. They've come down and had a taper, and you know they've really been doing a lot of strides and getting their leg turnover moving in order to try and break that elusive 2:12 and 2:10 barrier in the marathon. Right, now let's get on to this 10k split, because this is the most important one, so let's fast forward. Here we are, 10k split. First place again, number 44, still in the lead, 29.48. Now at this 10k split, we had another aid station where almost all of the runners now were deciding to take some water on board, some energy drinks, some sugary gels, and things like this. Number 11 is Daegu running for Adidas, and he's sharing some of the drinks with the Kenyans in front of him, which actually tells me that maybe they are pacers, because I know Kenya and Ethiopia have a massive rivalry, and I couldn't imagine them working together. Maybe I'm wrong, who knows. But yeah, Daegu doing a great job here. He's looking very chill. He's talking a lot to the athlete in blue on his right-hand side, which would show that he is still really comfortable in this race, which is important, especially only 11k into the race. It's a long, long way to go. You know, we're looking at way over 10k left, you know, 10 to 13k remaining. That's a long, long way for these athletes. And right now we're looking at basically an all-African lead pack, apart from I think maybe one athlete or two athletes towards the back there. I believe we may even have one local who is hanging on with this pack. Number 44 still in the lead, doing a fantastic job. We're coming up to the halfway mark now. Who is going to go through that halfway split, and what is the time going to be? Here we go, guys. This is the beautiful view I was on about. Look at the blossoming trees there. That is like something out of a utopian paradise. I mean, when I first saw this footage, I thought, is that AI, or is it just you know, not real? Is it fake trees? But no, they're not. They're actually real trees, and they look insane to me. They're really, really beautiful. So that's a great way to take your mind off the pain if you're running Daegu Marathon, is these beautiful blossoming trees during the springtime. So you could probably even smell them as you run past, which I guess if you have hay fever, that's not great because you might start having a sneezing fit. But if you don't have hay fever and you haven't got sinus issues, then that's probably a beautiful welcome break from the pain and lactic acid. So here we go. We're almost at 21k. We've got 63 minutes on the clock. 1 hour and 3 minutes in. We're looking at a predicted time of around about 2:06 to 2:07 for the marathon finish time. Stephen Kiprop is up there. We've got Kimutai. We also have Daegu, and we also have 3 or 4 Ethiopians still there. A bit of a mess up there. Some of the runners going into the wrong area. I don't know why that athlete turned round. Probably thought he was going to be disqualified or something. I have no idea. But yeah, that's worrying. I mean, the pressure on these athletes is unbelievable. They get very worried that if they take a wrong step, they may be disqualified, which means the whole race is pointless and they will have no chance of earning any money whatsoever. The life of a lot of these athletes is very difficult. Do not sugarcoat this sport. A lot of people try to. There are running channels on YouTube that are all happy-dappy, lovey-dovey, you know, hey guys, today, blah, blah, blah. Listen, the true authenticity of our sport is raw, hard work, discipline, and sometimes even desperation. You have to be desperate to put in these many training hours, this much miles as a lot of these African guys, and as they turn around to go back around the cone after the fear of being disqualified, imagine yourself in their situation that you trained for years to get this fast, and one wrong step could possibly disqualify you. So I guess it's understandable that they turned around to go through the cone the proper way, in case the authorities and the organizers of Daegu decided to disqualify them. Now I think that's highly unlikely, as it was a major mistake by all the runners there, and it didn't seem to be a mistake by any of the organizers. It seemed to just be where the lead runner went to the wrong side of the cone and everyone panicked and started jumping over these kind of 3 to 4 foot high cones. So we are at 30k basically. We've got a few more athletes dropping off here. The pack is a lot more kind of shortened down here, and things are looking pretty... is that Özbelen? I recognize that runner. He looks like the Turkish runner Özbelen. Or Arakaya. I don't know. Please correct me if I'm wrong. We'll look at the results later on. But another athlete drops aside. So maybe there was pacers. Again, unfortunately, they don't seem to have pacer on their bib, which I'd recommend Daegu do next year, because otherwise you can't really tell if they're the pacer or if they're just a competitor, which is kind of disappointing. At the London Marathon, they all wear the Shaftesbury Barnet black and white striped running vest, so they're easily noticeable to running fans and even the athletes competing. Right, 31k in, Bella Hughes there on the left of the camera. He looks like he's working a lot harder this time. A lot of Kenyans dropping off the back. Kenyans still dominating though. I mean, this is insane. We've got only one athlete here who is, I think, not from East Africa. I believe number 20 is Moroccan, as far as I'm aware. So look at this. Some of these guys really struggling now. The pace has been increased ever so slightly. It's not a major increase. They're still only operating at around about 2:06 to 2:07 predicted finish time. However, something has made these athletes really start to get into a lot of pain, and the lactic acid is starting to dig into their calves, and they're starting to worry if they can actually hold on to this pace. Here we see the Adidas Kenyan runners all kind of forming a union at the front here, putting in aggressive surges, which are actually starting to break down most of this group. Look at this. This is fantastic. We got single files, 3 on the left, 3 on the right, all behind each other. Aid station at 35k in. Good job to those people staying hydrated, as they will now have to prepare for a big finish if they want to win the 100 or the over $100,000 prize money, which we'll look at after this. Here we go. Fast forward to 37k. Oh my goodness me. Look at the grey vest athlete in 4th. We've got the Turkish athlete in 5th. It's phenomenal running. This is absolutely great. I tell you what, guys, number 5 in 3rd looks like he's out on a Sunday morning jog. His face isn't showing any signs of fatigue. More of the beautiful trees. Look at that. They almost look pink, like a white and a pink. That is absolutely stunning. I really do wish I could see them in person. Maybe one day, but Daegu Marathon, perhaps, I'd recommend it to a lot of you. And maybe I'll leave a link in the description so you can remember to enter it in the future. So here we go. Are we looking at a Kenya 1, 2 and 3? We've got an Eritrean runner up there. I believe we did have a Ugandan in the lead pack and a Moroccan. We have a lot of support here from the organisers and the locals, doing a great job cheering these African runners in over the last 5k of the race. This is a really good aerial view because it gives you perspective on how big their lead is. Here we are, 1 hour and 53 minutes into the race. Now we have a breakaway. It's Stephen Kiprop, and we also have Kimutai behind him. Stephen being number 34, Kimutai being in 2nd. This is looking like it's going to be a Kenya 1 and 2, possibly a Kenya 1, 2 and 3. But in 3rd, we have a Kenyan battling with an Eritrean who seems to be holding off the Kenyan. Now, we have to remember there's still around almost 3k remaining in this race, which for these athletes is still around 9 minutes of running left. Here you can see the Turkish athlete really digging deep. They're trying their hardest to make up those positions over the last we've got 8 minutes, I'd say, maybe 8 or 9 minutes of the race. They haven't actually increased the pace that much, but there have been some sections here over this last 30 to 35k mark that have been quite hilly. Now their predicted time is 2:07:25, so that's quite interesting. Compared to what they went out at, they don't really seem to have increased their pace much at all. But a lot of these runners have got exhausted and just dropped back massively. Stephen here doing a great job. Weird form, I must say. Arms swing very high, almost crouched down, leaning forward. But this has been very effective for Stephen. He's doing a great job at staying relaxed. He is breathing heavy, and he's almost at the finish. Now, at the Daegu Marathon, you have to run into the stadium, do half a lap, 200 meters, and then you hit the finish. So is he going to steer clear of the 2nd place athlete? It looks to me like he has a gap now of at least 10 or 20 seconds. So I think that unless a crazy sprint finish happens from 2nd, he's going to have won. Look at this. He can't believe it. His hands are up. He's really happy. That is a massive payday, guys. Over $100,000 for first place. And bear in mind, it's not rapidly fast. He's not even going to break 2:07. This is not hugely fast for nowadays marathon times. Some of you will try and argue with me, but it's not. If you look at the stats and the standards, a 2:07 is slow nowadays. 2:07.02 unofficial. What a great run by Stephen. Fantastic. Number 34, we have a Kenya 1. Are we going to have a Kenya 2? Is Kimutai going to come in with second? Yes, he is. That is Kimutai doing a great job here, holding himself on, not allowing third place to catch up. How far behind are third place? I can't see them. So Kimutai seems to be quite relaxed here. I think that's number 27 he has on his bib. There we go. Coming in nice and relaxed. No need to push any harder. He has won the second place prize money. Great job to Stephen in first and Kimutai in second. So here are the press at the end of the race taking the photos and the interviews of these athletes. Some of the Kenyans and Africans require interpreters and translators, while others do not because they practice their English and also are very good at speaking in public. And